I need to write this down while I still know what's real. My name is David. My wife's name is Claire. We've been married for 7 years. I know everything about her, the way she hums when she cooks, the scar on her left knee from a childhood bike accident, the fact that she always sleeps on her right side with one hand tucked under the pillow. 4 days ago, Claire came home from work and something was different. I can't explain it in a way that sounds rational. She looked like Claire. She sounded like Claire. She was wearing Claire's clothes, driving Claire's car, carrying Claire's purse with all of Claire's things inside it. She kissed me on the cheek the way Claire always does, left cheek, quick, slightly dry. But it wasn't Claire. I know how that sounds. I've spent 4 days questioning my own sanity, wondering if I'm having some kind of dissociative episode or early onset something. But I know my wife. I've slept next to her for 7 years. I've memorized her laugh, her breathing patterns, the exact weight of her hand on my chest when she reaches for me in the night. The thing that came home 4 days ago is wearing my wife like a costume. And it's almost perfect. Almost. The first thing I noticed was the eyes. Claire has brown eyes with a small ring of amber around the left pupil. I noticed it on our 3rd date and I've loved it ever since. This Claire has the amber ring around the right pupil. Mirrored. Like a reflection. I told myself I was wrong. That I'd been remembering it incorrectly all these years. So I checked our wedding photos. Left pupil. I was right. The second thing was the humming. Claire hums when she cooks. Always the same 3 songs in rotation, Moon River, the theme from Amelie, and this obscure folk song her grandmother used to sing. The thing in my kitchen was humming something I'd never heard. The melody was close to Moon River but wrong. Like someone had heard the song once, years ago, and was reconstructing it from memory. The third thing, and this is what made my blood go cold, was the sleep. Claire sleeps on her right side. Always has. Says it's the only way she's comfortable. This thing sleeps on its left side. Mirror image. Everything about it is mirrored. I started testing it. Carefully. Little things that only I would know. On the second night, I mentioned our honeymoon in Portugal. Claire and I honeymooned in Greece. The thing said, "Oh, I miss Lisbon," without missing a beat. My wife has never been to Lisbon. She's never been to Portugal. I brought up her childhood dog, Biscuit. "I miss that dog," it said. Claire's childhood dog was named Pretzel. Same category. Close. But wrong. I asked about her sister's wedding. Claire is an only child. It was beautiful, the thing said. Jenny looked gorgeous. It's filling in the gaps with plausible answers. Like a language model generating text, confident, coherent, but fundamentally fabricated. It has the broad strokes of Claire's life but none of the specifics. On the 3rd day, I did something I'm not proud of. While it was in the shower, I checked its body for Claire's birthmark, a small, dark spot on the back of her left shoulder. It was there. But again, mirrored. Right shoulder. I drove to Claire's office during lunch. I told the receptionist I wanted to surprise my wife. She looked confused. "Claire left at 5 yesterday like normal," she said. "She hasn't been in today." It was Wednesday. Claire, real Claire, never misses work. She has 12 years of perfect attendance. The thing in my house had left that morning carrying Claire's work bag, wearing Claire's badge, and driven away in Claire's car. Where does it go for 8 hours? That night, I pretended everything was normal. We ate dinner. We watched TV. It laughed at the right moments during the show, but a fraction of a second late. Like there was a processing delay between hearing the joke and performing the response. At midnight, I was lying in bed, pretending to be asleep. The thing was next to me, on its left side. I kept my breathing slow and steady. At 2 a.m., it got out of bed. I cracked my eyes open just enough to see. In the dark bedroom, lit only by the alarm clock's red glow, I watched my wife's body walk to the center of the room and stop. It stood there, perfectly still, facing the wall. Not swaying, not shifting weight. Absolutely motionless in a way that human bodies simply cannot be. We fidget. We breathe. We sway microscopically just from our heartbeat. This thing was still like furniture. It stood there for 47 minutes. I counted every second. Then, at exactly 2:47 a.m., it walked back to bed, lay down on its left side, and closed its eyes. Its breathing resumed like someone pressing play on a paused recording. Yesterday, day 4, I came home and the house smelled wrong. Not bad, exactly. Organic. Like the air in a greenhouse, thick and vegetal. I traced it to the basement. The basement door was open. Claire, real Claire, keeps it closed because of the cold draft. I walked down the stairs. In the far corner, behind the water heater, I found a shape. Something biological, pressed against the wall and floor, roughly the size of a person. It was translucent, like a shed snakeskin, but thicker. Wet. It had the rough outline of a human form, arms, legs, a head, but deflated. Empty. It was warm to the touch. I went back upstairs. The thing that looks like Claire was standing in the kitchen, facing away from me. It wasn't humming. It wasn't moving. It was just standing there, hands at its sides, staring at the wall. "Dinner will be ready soon," it said, without turning around. There was nothing on the stove. The oven was off. I'm typing this from a hotel room. I told it I had a work trip. It smiled, that almost right smile, and said, "I'll miss you." I've called the police. I told them my wife is missing and something is in my house. They sent someone over. The officer called me back and said everything looked fine. He talked to Claire. She seemed normal. She was worried about me. "Your wife says you've been under a lot of stress," the officer said. "Maybe take a few days off." I called Claire's mother. She said she'd talked to Claire that morning and everything was fine. She sounded just like herself, her mother said. But her mother talks to Claire on the phone. She can't see the mirrored eyes. She can't feel the absence in the room, that subtle vacuum where a person's warmth and weight and electromagnetic reality should be. I don't know what it is. I don't know where Claire, my Claire, the real Claire, is. I don't know if she's alive. All I know is that something is living in my house, sleeping in my bed, and wearing my wife's face. And nobody believes me. If you're reading this, check the people around you. Really check. Look at the details, the small, specific, impossible to fake details. Because if it happened to Claire, it can happen to anyone. And whatever replaced her is getting better at pretending.